When Tiger Woods casually walked onto the driving range at a junior charity event, he expected polite applause and a few smiling parents. But before we dive in, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. What he didn't expect was to see an 8-year-old girl sink a 40-foot putt blindfolded, then casually whisper his exact win record under her breath. His heart skipped. His grip tightened on the club. Who was this girl? And why did her coach look so familiar? The gallery fell into a stunned silence as the ball rattled into the cup. Tiger's eyes narrowed. The girl stood calmly, hands behind her back, a faint smile on her face, as if she knew this moment would come. Her name tag read Ava. He hadn't heard of her before, but now he couldn't look away. There was something unsettling about her composure. No nervous laughter. No kid-like energy, just silence. Precision. Focus. He stepped forward slowly, club in hand, the sun hitting the brim of his cap just enough to shadow his eyes. "Nice putt," he said, voice level but tight. She looked up at it. Kimu beat him. Not with awe or excitement, but with the calm confidence of someone who had studied every detail of his career. "Thanks," she replied. "That was your 2001 Masters line, with less wind." Tiger blinked. "What?" His chest tightened. He took a step back before he realized he was doing it. For a brief second, the crowd faded. It was just him and this kid, and a creeping sense that something was off. The event announcer snapped him out of it. "Ladies and gentlemen, up next, Mr. Tiger Woods paired with our junior prodigy Ava for a friendly match." The crowd erupted in cheers, but Tiger wasn't smiling. His knuckles turned white around the grip of his club. He glanced at her coach, just for a second, and froze. It couldn't be. Not him. Not after all these years. The man turned away just before their eyes could meet. Tiger's heart pounded in his chest. Something was very wrong. And for the first time in a decade, he wasn't sure he was the best golfer on the green. Why was she here? And more importantly, who sent her? The first few holes were supposed to be lighthearted, a charity showcase, nothing serious. But by the fourth hole, Tiger's smile was gone. Ava wasn't just good, she was flawless. No nervous twitches, no wasted movement. She calculated wind direction like a machine, adjusted her stance mid-breath, and struck each ball with quiet violence. Her drives were near perfect. Her putts kissed the lip of every cup before dropping in like destiny. Tiger's pulse quickened with every shot she took, and the worst part, she didn't gloat. She didn't even seem aware of how terrifying her skill was. On hole 5, she beat him by 2 strokes. He tried to laugh it off. "Beginner's luck," he muttered. She glanced at him, expression unreadable. "You're swinging too hard, trying to force it." Tiger froze. That was exactly what his old coach used to say, word for word. He turned toward the sidelines where Ava's coach stood under a navy umbrella, arms crossed. Same posture, same build. A bit older now. A bit grayer. But there was no denying it. It was Vincent Mercer. Tiger hadn't seen him in over a decade, not since the falling out. The contracts. The shouting. The betrayal. Vincent had vanished after that. And now, he was here. Coaching her? Ava teed up for the 6th hole. Her driver barely made a sound. The ball cut through the air, perfect draw, landing just short of the flag. Gasps from the gallery followed. Tiger stepped up next, jaw tight. He swung. Slice. The ball veered wide, deep into the rough. The gallery murmured. Tiger tried to breathe, but his chest felt constricted. This wasn't about golf anymore. Something else was happening here. Back at the cart, he reached for water, his hands trembling slightly. "You okay?" Ava asked, appearing beside him without warning. He looked down at her. She tilted her head. "You don't remember him, do you?" she asked softly. Tiger stiffened. "What?" She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Never mind." She turned and walked away. Tiger stood frozen, haunted by a question he didn't understand. What exactly did she mean by that? And what the hell was Vincent planning? The match was over. Ava won by 5 strokes. Tiger shook her hand in front van het publiek, in professioneel gebaar, een geforceerde glimlach, maar zijn ogen bleven zoeken naar Vincent, naar antwoorden. Vincent was gone. Later that evening, while most attendees mingled at the clubhouse, Tiger slipped away, cutting through a corridor that led toward the equipment sheds. And there he was, Vincent, alone, wiping down a dusty set of clubs. Tiger's throat tightened. "You really thought I wouldn't recognize you?" Vincent didn't flinch. He just kept polishing the club head. "Didn't think you'd care," he said flatly. "Not after the way things ended." Tiger stepped closer. "You show up out of nowhere with a golf prodigy who mimics my swings, quotes my records, and humiliates me on live television. And you think I wouldn't care?" Vincent finally looked up. His eyes were older, colder. "She's not here for you, Tiger. She's here because of you." Tiger's pulse jumped. "What the hell does that mean?" Vincent hesitated, then dropped the club into the bag with a soft clunk. "You remember Lacey?" The name hit like a punch to the ribs. Lacey. The name he hadn't heard in years. The quiet girl who interned at his training center in 2015. Soft-spoken. Brilliant. Disappeared without a word after one season. He stared at Vincent. "No, that's not possible." Vincent stepped forward now, calm and deliberate. "Ava is her daughter." Tiger's mouth went dry. "I didn't—" He stopped himself. "You didn't know?" Vincent asked. "Or you chose not to know?" Tiger stumbled back a step, as if the ground itself had shifted beneath him. "But why bring her here? Why now?" Vincent's voice turned sharper. "Because she deserved to see the man who walked away from his own blood." Tiger's mind reeled. No, this wasn't real. It couldn't be. He stormed out of the shed, heart pounding, vision blurring. Outside, dusk had fallen. Lights from the clubhouse shimmered across the nearby pond. Ava stood alone by the edge, skipping stones. He approached slowly. "Is it true?" he asked, barely above a whisper. She didn't look at him, just tossed another stone. "Depends on what you mean by true," she said. He knelt beside her. "I didn't know." She finally turned to him. Her eyes, those weren't Vincent's. They weren't Lacey's either. They were his. Before he could speak again, she dropped a folded piece of paper into his hand and walked away. He opened it. Just one sentence. "You'll see me again, but not as your daughter." The next morning, the headlines were everywhere. Golf legend Tiger Woods defeated by 8-year-old prodigy. Charity turns into showdown, Ava versus Tiger, and Ava wins. Tiger didn't sleep. The note haunted him. "You'll see me again, but not as your daughter." What did she mean? Was this about revenge? A warning? A challenge? The tournament committee saw a marketing opportunity. They reached out to both parties with a bold proposal. A televised rematch. A one-on-one exhibition, Tiger versus Ava, the duel on the green. He expected her to decline. She didn't. She agreed instantly. By noon the next day, the private course was swarming with press, drones, and live broadcast crews. The friendly match had become international news. Tiger stepped out in silence, gripping his glove tighter than necessary. His breathing was shallow. The usual focus wasn't there. He hadn't practiced. He'd been unraveling. Across from him, Ava arrived, flanked by Vincent, who wore dark sunglasses and said nothing. She walked ahead of him, all composure and precision, just like before. But this time, Tiger saw something else too. A mission. Hole 1. Tiger's shot hooked. Ava landed hers inches from the cup. Hole 2. Tiger overcompensated. Sand trap. Ava? Birdie. Hole 3. Tiger's hands shook on the putter. She drained a 20-footer with her eyes half closed. The crowd noticed. The whispers grew louder. By hole 5, Tiger was visibly sweating, and not from the sun. He pulled Ava aside. "Why are you doing this?" She looked at him with icy calm. "You left her," she said. "You don't get to walk back in now. I'm not your redemption arc." Tiger's stomach twisted. He tried to speak but couldn't. Back on the fairway, the camera zoomed in as Ava made an impossible shot over a tree line. The ball bounced twice, then stopped within 2 feet of the hole. The gallery erupted. Tiger stared. She wasn't playing to win anymore. She was playing to break him. On hole 8, Tiger dropped to one knee. His club slipped from his fingers. The world tilted. He felt lightheaded. Hands grabbed his shoulders. Officials, medics, voices blurred together. "Is he okay? Get him water! Is it heat stroke?" Ava stood nearby, arms crossed, her face unreadable. He looked up at her, and she leaned in just enough to whisper, "I know what you said to my mother the night she left. She kept the voicemail. I memorized every word." Tiger's breath caught. She stood and walked away, leaving him in the dirt, surrounded by silence and shame. One of the medics handed him a cold towel, and tucked beneath it was another note. No one else saw. This one said, "Finish the match, or I'll tell the world everything." He didn't want to stand up. On his knees, drenched in sweat and humiliation, Tiger stared at the grass. He could hear the distant buzz of cameras, the low hum of whispers. Ava's voice echoed in his mind over and over. "I memorized every word." He never thought anyone would hear that voicemail. He left it during a night of panic, right before Lacey disappeared from his life for good. Now, her daughter stood over him like a judge. And yet, he stood, slowly, unsteadily. He picked up his club with trembling fingers and waved away the medics. "I'm finishing," he said. His voice cracked. The crowd applauded politely, not sure whether to cheer or brace for another collapse. Hole 9. Ava's tee shot. Perfect. Tigers. Shaky off to the left. But on the fairway, something shifted. As he stood over the ball, he closed his eyes, not to focus but to remember. The rhythm, the breath. The way the game used to feel before it became contracts and expectations. He exhaled, then swung. Clean. The ball soared, landed softly and rolled inches from the hole. The crowd gasped. Vincent looked up. Ava narrowed her eyes. Over the next few holes, Tiger changed. Not into the unbeatable champion the world once knew it, but into someone real. He wasn't chasing her anymore. He was playing for himself. By hole 13, he was still behind by 3 strokes, but the audience could feel it. Something was building. Ava felt it too. For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty crossed her face. On hole 14, she double bogeyed. Her hands twitched. She snapped at Vincent. Tiger said nothing. Hole 15, birdie. Hole 16, tie. Hole 17. Ava's ball curved slightly. Tiger's landed clean. They were even. And then came hole 18, the final hole. As they walked side by side to the last tee, Ava glanced at him. "I thought you'd crumble." "I almost did," he replied. She stopped. "You still haven't asked the real question." He looked at her, genuinely puzzled. "What question?" She smirked, sad almost. "You still think this is about you, don't you?" Then she stepped up and drove the ball. Straight, clean, powerful. Tiger watched it fly. And for the first time he saw not a prodigy, but someone desperate to be heard. He stepped up next, but before he could swing, Vincent called out from the sideline, "Tiger, you need to see this." Tiger turned annoyed until he saw Vincent holding a phone, pale as a ghost. On the screen was a video, and in it, Ava wasn't alone. She was practicing with someone else, someone Tiger hadn't seen since the scandal. Tiger lowered his club. His heart stopped. That man was supposed to be in prison. The final hole was never played. Tiger stood frozen, eyes locked on the screen Vincent held. The footage was grainy but clear. Ava on a private driving range, coached by a man in a black tracksuit. Slow motion reveals the distinct limp in his left leg, the signature shoulder tilt before a swing. There was no doubt. Cal Matthews, a disgraced former pro, banned for life, arrested for fraud, sentenced to 7 years. Tiger had testified against him. He was supposed to be locked away until 2027. And yet, there he was, coaching Ava. Later that evening, the tournament officials canceled the rematch. The cameras shut down. The gallery dispersed. Tiger sat alone on a bench near the parking lot, holding the folded notes Ava had left him. Vincent sat beside him but said nothing. After a while, Tiger broke the silence. "You knew," Vincent nodded slowly. "She found him online. Said she wanted to understand what happens to great men when they fall. I tried to stop it, but he got inside her head." Tiger exhaled through his nose. "She's not just a golfer." "No," Vincent replied. "She's a message." A week passed. Tiger kept off social media, declined interviews, canceled his next 3 appearances. He watched the footage again and again, both from the match and from the secret video, not looking for flaws, looking for meaning. 10 days later, an anonymous account posted a new video to a private forum. No commentary, no hashtags, just a swing. On a night-lit range in Tokyo. Same height, same footwork, same delay before impact. Ava, gone from the U.S. circuit, but still training, still evolving. Tiger stood in his home study, eyes fixed on the paused video. He had spent a lifetime chasing perfection. But now he realized perfection had found him, looked him in the eye, and walked away. He whispered the words under his breath, barely audible. "She's not done." He opened the drawer of his desk, pulled out an old notebook, his first training journal. He turned to the first page. Date, April 1990, blank underneath, and he started writing again. This story was intense, but this story on the right-hand side is even more insane.